Hello. Hello.
Yo, yo.
Yo, yo. Been a minute, yo. Been a minute.
Several.
Boy. Well, how long has it been? Like
2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. Shit. Oh, well. It's only been a week for you fuckers, but cheers. We back. How do we start this? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Team Rocket podcast.
Yes, sir. Episode 41.
41, yo. I'm gonna crack open another one, actually.
You finish yours?
Yeah, yo. I didn't try this one yet, yo.
Oh, really?
This is the Arizona green tea.
This is the Arizona iced tea with peach flavor. Hard.
This one has green tea with ginseng and honey. That sounds kind of crazy.
Remember when Arizona's used to be $1?
Yeah.
It was at 99 cents. That's crazy. Now we got some with alcohol, yo.
Fucking inflation, yo. Oh my god. We made a mess.
In Winnipeg, it is currently high of 21, low of 14, and
I like
currently 20%, 20 degrees.
Have you had that on lock, yo? Shit.
Not bad temperature today, considering that apparently this year is the like
hottest,
I was saying, the hottest year in recorded human history.
That's insane, yo. That's yeah. Make sure you stay cool out there, yo.
Stay hydrated, stay cool.
Yeah, can't be having that heat sickness, heat stroke. None of that. That's some serious shit, yo.
Yeah.
Ain't playing around.
Don't ignore the signs your body and the universe gives you, you know?
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
And the universe.
I don't know if you saw Anna Kana's video, I think it was last week or something, but she was talking about like her sobriety and like how she like doesn't drink. I don't know, I can't remember if she doesn't drink at all now or if she just doesn't drink very often now.
Interesting.
But anyway, she was saying how like before, like especially pre-pandemic and like especially like the first year of the pandemic, she like got really bad with drinking, and like she quoted like I think it was Oprah saying how like your body, listen to your body, it whispers to you, the universe whispers to you when you're doing things that are harmful to yourself. Like sometimes you get that feeling, the thought in your head, it's like, oh, doing this doesn't make me feel that good, or like, oh, maybe I should stop this. And like sometimes it starts as a whisper, and like sometimes like your body or the universe will like shout at you when things are going too far. And like in her case, she started like drinking so much and like just by herself, like on like a Tuesday afternoon.
Damn.
And then it got to a point where she got so drunk that when she was at a bar one time, she had like a misunderstanding with a girl, I think, and she was like, well, she wanted to physically hurt her. And like Anakana, because she comes from like her dad was in the military, so she knows like several martial arts.
Do you see her training for that movie?
Yeah, that was sick.
That
with
was
the swords
the
and
sword.
shit.
Yeah.
Ooh, badass. But yeah, she was saying that like, I forgot how she was able to cool down from that situation, but like the reality that sunk in after that was like, oh, I got to a point where like I was so inebriated that I was willing to physically harm someone over like a misunderstanding, a small misunderstanding. And she was like, not to brag, but like I would have broken that girl.
I believe her, yo. Like, she would have broken me.
Yeah, she could break me, yo. She could break me, yo.
Oh, there you go, yo.
But yeah. Anyways, like she was saying, like we have to do a better job, and like in her case, speaking from personal experience, like listening to when your body or the universe gives you signs that like you're doing things that are either harmful to your future or your current self, right?
Yeah.
And like I just brought that up because of like ignoring the signs sometimes of like when you're working yourself too hard, especially when it comes to the heat, right?
Yeah. Damn. Because sometimes it's just easier to be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's like it's about the grind.
Yo.
What's that rock song? What's the rock song?
Oh God.
It's all about.
Fuck. This is something. The power. Yeah.
No, we are hungry. We get desire, something like that, right?
Yeah. That's the one. Interesting.
Face Off. That's the name of it.
Face Off.
No. Yeah. What an interesting song.
God. Yeah. Shouts to The Rock. Should watch our podcast.
Shoutouts to The Rock, I guess.
Oh God. The Rock and the grind, yeah. What that makes me think of? That alarm clock. That alarm?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
6 a.m. You're still in bed. You're a bitch.
You're a bitch. Get the fuck up if you're mad.
Context: we had we knew someone who had an alarm clock that was do you hear that?
Yeah. Hopefully you guys don't hear that.
I hope so too.
Us.
Anyway, in context, we had a friend that well, there's someone we knew that had an alarm clock. And at whatever time they set it to was it's 6 a.m. It's time to get up. Time to take on the day. Stop being a bitch.
Are you gonna let the desire, the temptations of your bed keep you from achieving your goals or some shit?
Are you gonna take the days or are they gonna take you?
Yeah.
And it was so jokes because the person never woke up to it.
No.
It's like for a week straight we were all camping together, and it's like you'd hear that shit at like 10 a.m. because they'd snooze it. Like,
Yeah.
It's 6 a.m. It's fucking 10:20 a.m. We've had breakfast already.
It's been like 3 hours since that started, yo.
Oh my God. What
That's
an alarm
crazy.
clock. Jesus Christ.
The clown a lot of us that I'm ashamed to say looked up to, and it's still a clown today. So.
Yeah. That was there too, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers to it's 6 a.m.
Cheers to 6 a.m.
6 a.m., yeah. But you know what? It's probably good to have motivators like that, like an alarm clock, but know what the best motivator is, yeah? Yourself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
See, you like that segue? Today we're gonna be talking about being your own best cheerleader. Yeah, because you know the saying. There's a saying. What's it called? You're your own worst enemy. Like that's true.
Very true.
And like, I'm sure if y'all know that, or y'all don't know that, you about to know that, or you probably don't realize it, but you're your worst enemy because you know yourself best. What's it called? And you're kind of like the last defense to yourself, kind of like make or break it type thing. But in the same way that your own worst enemy could also be
your best ally.
Your best ally.
Yeah.
This sounded okay. How this started is that me and James were texting this one Friday morning. I don't know how it sounded way better on text in my head. But I tried to explain it just now. I don't think it sounded that good. But
corny.
I know. Fuck. I'm not thinking straight. I'm so cheesed about this fucking camera, yo. Surprise. We're actually recording on a camera now, so I'm holding. Look, I'm holding my phone.
Can you guys tell the difference?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Cause
or at least if it's the same. If it's worse, that's shit.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to sell this camera, and fucker who's trying to buy it from me is like, "Where's the shutter count?" And I'm like, I can't pull it up. So if anyone knows how to pull the shutter count from your camera, hit me up because I'm trying to do that.
What kind of camera is it?
It's a Canon Rebel T7.
Yeah.
Also, the guy texted saying you should be able to open that from your camera. So, I'm
opened up your camera and it wasn't there.
Yeah, I I'm just like, there's no way. Like, look, it's fucking. There's nothing here. It's like, oh, yeah, there's nothing here. Oh, auto format, file numbering, screen color. Yeah, nothing here. Ah, see? And also Google says you have to like download an app or something. I also paid $12 for an app, and
it hasn't done the job.
I don't know if you can see it from here, but it says connect the Canon EOS camera via USB. I did, and well, shit, it's not working. So I'm sad. Anyway, back to the topic. We're talking about being your own best ally. I don't know. I feel like lots of ways to do that. I guess like in the same way that your own worst your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's almost identical to how you can be your own worst ally, or your own best ally.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you know where your worst weaknesses are at. Same way where you also know, you out of all people know the most where your like greatest strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to like kind of play into those. Like, obviously the weaknesses suck, but they're always going to be there. But so are the strengths, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I feel like it's a super true point, and like even outside of like, I guess, as content creators.
Yeah, why you say it like that?
So cringe, yeah. That's why I said it, because I knew it would be cringe.
Because we talked about a content creator earlier.
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, I just feel like no matter what you do, no matter what your hobbies are, like even if you feel, because like I definitely feel that like especially ever since we like started the podcast, and even like beyond that, like outside of the podcast, but like as an example, especially being in the podcast, like starting it, like I definitely feel like I always get like the recurring thought that like I tried to fight in terms of like I always tell myself like, oh, I'm being more realistic and like more grounded in terms of like the way I see what we're doing here and like our like quote unquote impact, right? And like it's easy to just get like discouraged by like numbers. Like obviously like if you're gonna look at like way bigger podcasts, you're gonna be like, whoa, we're not getting like 6-figure numbers, we're not getting like tens of thousands of views on like shorter form content, right?
But you can change that.
Sure. But yeah, like it's like if you're constantly comparing yourself and like looking at comparisons that shine light on your own insecurities in whatever and in our case like the podcast, like obviously you're gonna feel bad and you're gonna feel inadequate.
100%.
And like a lot of the time I still struggle with like the idea that like, damn, what we're saying or what we're doing, is it even like meaningful to ourselves or even to you guys, right? And then I would compare like, oh, like people, I'm like, dang, how come this person has a podcast and like I feel like I talk about more interesting stuff than they do and they're doing way better. And I'm like, and then on the other hand, I'm like, oh, this other person has like another podcast and they're way better at keeping conversations going and having that constant flow with like their guests or their co-hosts than I do. So I'm like, dang, what am I doing, right? So like having to like struggle and learn how to like fight those things and not take it to heart so much, especially since like we're just doing this for fun. It's not like it's like a full-time job for us.
Our life doesn't depend on this. So
and like I feel like that like thinking that way is like so harmful, and like it's not, and like sure it's okay to like be realistic to a certain degree and look for ways where you can improve on the things you're good at and maybe improve on ways that you obviously think need work.
Yeah.
But while also thinking about ways that could strengthen the things that you could be good at. And sometimes, like, far more often than I'd care to admit, it takes outside perspectives outside of myself to realize
Like,
how good my strengths or actually are. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you can think, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm not good at whatever. And then you hear from an outside perspective, a person in your life that you care about, or a random stranger that you've just met, be like, oh, you're actually really good at this, this, this. And you're like, dang, I didn't really think about it that way. I just thought it was just like something that I do that's like mediocre, right?
No, I feel you. Yeah, it's like you don't even realize, like, again, this podcast, for example, I don't know where I saw it. I wish I could quote it for you, but it's like, what's it called? Again, like, looking at numbers, comparing to other podcasts, it's just like, fuck, like, are we on the right track? Is just like, are we just like not good at this? Like, it kind of like, I almost like took it personally, but then it was weird. The universe was just like, nah, you're thinking wrong. And they send me this reel, the universe itself, send me a reel, on my feed, and it was just like, what is it? What was? I think I texted it to you, but it was like 20% of podcasts will make it past episode 20, and then like the 80% don't make it past that.
Right.
And it's just like, this is episode 41,
Yeah.
So that kind of,
we doubled the number, guys.
we doubled the number, That says something. It kind of says, like, that kind of speaks to like how resilient we actually are, how like committed we are to this. So it's just like, what's it called? It's just, again, what's it called? I'm saying what's it called a lot. I don't know. It's just, I guess, like, again, an outside perspective, kind of like shining the light on what actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can only, like, as a human, that's from where I'm sitting, I can only see it from one way.
Yeah.
Comparing to, like, I guess I'm looking up at, like, oh shit, I'm not reaching this.
Yeah.
Not reaching that. We're not here. Blah blah blah. But it's just like, looking back is just like, oh, the other 80% didn't fucking make it. So, not to rip on them. It's like, we all tried.
Yeah.
So shouts to wannabe podcasters who tried.
Shout out to anybody who's tried, right?
Because this shit ain't easy, yo. No. Like, fucking, I'm pretty, like, what time did you get here? Like 4:30? Like, it took us, 2 hours to figure out what we were going to talk about, or just to start. But that's also kind of my fault, because I've been trying to figure out this camera shit. But, yeah, like, it's like, time to plan it, time to, like, record it, time to, like, put it all together. Obviously, this shit ain't free either.
Yeah. Yeah, even hard to, like, I don't know, like, even, like, I struggle, like, especially with, like, when we're, like, trying to, like, throw out the idea of, like, oh, what should we talk about? Let's think about that, right?
Right.
And, like, and I think up to myself, I'm like, dang, maybe we could, like, do stuff we've done in the past or whatever, but then, like, there's, like, that balance of, like, oh, I don't want to lean too hard on specific things or, like, be repetitive.
Yeah, or, like, even just to force anything, too. Yeah, because then, like, again, like, obviously, like, we're recording a podcast to share, but it's just, like, at the heart of it, it's just, like, just to have, like, genuine conversation and just to hang out. So, like, again, if you force things, then you kind of lose the whole point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then, like, it's interesting because, like, when I thought about that, I was like, oh, I don't want to force things. I was like, oh, maybe we should do more, like, activities or stuff like that. And, like, it would be fun, like, down the line or maybe next episode or something, right?
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, it's like, when I think about the podcast, where I think about the activities that they do, that I get ideas from, I'm like, I look at the ones that I listen to pretty regularly or consistently, they also just talk.
Yeah.
They're not, like, consistently leaning on these activities. And it's like, and sometimes it's like the episodes where they're just talking that, like, I enjoy more than the activities that they do, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And, like, sure, it, like, spices things up and, like, it's cool.
Yeah.
But, like, it just speaks to the fact that, like, not everything has to be planned to the T.
Exactly. Sometimes it's like there's beauty in just, like, the what's it called? kind of like heat of the moment things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just like when we were talking shit with like James and Jacob a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the episode. Like we didn't plan most of that shit.
No.
Like actually, we planned something and we went completely off script. We talked about
like we had the would you rather questions that we had in mind.
Yeah,
and then we had the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah. And
but then after that, it was
just like talking about our dream girl, talking about Janjo and specific qualities.
Yeah, talk about memories and
memories.
Stuff like
that, Asian hate.
Yeah.
Most of that was bleeped out, but
but yeah, it's
Anyways,
it's crazy. It's crazy that like sometimes like just going with the flow of how conversations can take you can be interesting, because like even like the like podcasters that I really enjoy, that like they have like this, there's like the art of being able to keep a conversation going is like such a craft in itself that it's hard. It's unfair to like compare myself to people who have like either have been creating content on separate channels for a long time and then getting together with those friends, or like even like comedians like who do stand up and like know how to like banter and like read people and like see where and kind of like not necessarily like dictate the conversation, but like guide the conversation for where you want to go, right?
Because like there's a fine line between like kind of like where you're leaning too hard into the crowd and you're letting like the crowd kind of decides how your fate basically, or again the other way where you're dictating and it's just like you're kind of forcing the crowd into like I guess. So it's fucking beautiful. I struggle with that shit, like something like I'll like fucking try to like kind of rant on and then I'll forget where I'm going and then I'll look at this guy and I'm like help me. So that's proven, I made sure I didn't say anything about that until this podcast, so I could fucking so you wouldn't have anything to say. Actually, you're probably gonna have something to say about that, but anyway.
But yeah, because it's also interesting because like Jesse feels that way, or like even for me, like I feel like when
here we go,
like in terms of like post-production stuff, like Jesse does like 95%, 97% of the work after we're recording.
Dude, you wouldn't be in post-production if you didn't do the pre-production,
right.
He comes up with 90% of the ideas,
not recently, but like maybe like the first like 10 episodes, but like that's it.
Also he carries the conversation. You carry 90% of the conversation.
No, we carry 50-50.
But you save my ass 90% of the time,
But we also have to wipe each other's ass. Like, I might save you in the conversation, but you save me in post-production editing, right? So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's why we're called the Team Rocket Podcast, guys.
Team Rocket,
What were we talking about? I just remember wiping ass, and then when you said that, I literally thought of that, and I was like, whoa.
Well, we were kind of like talking about how like comparing ourselves to like other creators, and like the experiences like that these other creators that we might be looking at, or like podcasters, the experiences that they've had leading up to them starting these podcasts, right? Like it's unfair to compare ourselves to that when we like sure we've been friends since we were kids, but like we've never really like worked on like content creation on our own and then have like that kind of experience to bring to the table, right?
Or just like anything related to like what's it called, like that field. Like I feel like content creation is something very specific and like not as related to a lot of other things that we usually stumble upon daily.
Right.
Like it's one thing to have like to know how to talk to people, but to know how to like again guide a conversation, be like one of my inspos like David, so like he's a stand-up comedian. Like you have to be quick, you got to be like again aware of like what's going on. You got to read the room. Yeah, that's just hard because you actually have to think about it. Because like there are times where you like normal conversations, like whenever you're with your friends, that'll come and go naturally, but then there's no pressure. Right. But it's just like you're on the camera, you got all this setup, you got a plan that you got to stick to, and it's just like with all of that and how to like stay natural and guide the conversation, know when to like fall back to the plan or like kind of let the whatever the conversation grow. That's a fine balance, yo. That's fucking respect to people who've been doing this for a while. Shouts to you, Joe Rogan. Fucking one of the OG podcasters, like, yo.
1,500 plus episodes, like 2,000 episodes. That's crazy.
2,000 episodes, insane, yo. It boggles my mind to see like people who are in like the 70s or the hundreds or like the 200s.
Yeah, 500s,
right? 500s, like what? Jumpers Jump is at what? Like 200 something.
Yeah.
David So's, I think he stopped counting. Mm-hmm. Like there's no count on his podcast anymore. It's so funny.
Yeah, I think Tiger Belly is at like 500 plus.
God damn,
like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. Who would be I don't know if we talked about this yet, but who would be like oh no, we did talk about this. Like inspiration, like content creators that like you kind of like, I wouldn't say find inspiration, but like enjoy their style basically.
Do you have any off top?
David So's a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I don't know, he's very, it's cool because he's you can tell he's super easygoing, but he's also very like passionate, and he's like, he's not a yes man. Like he knows how to share an opinion without being like over passionate or like kind of like closed minded. He's open minded and passionate. That's a cool balance because it's just like usually it's one or the other. Like if you lean too hard into being open minded, it's just like you don't really know where your opinion is. But on the other hand, where it's just like you're super passionate about something and you're like just this. So he's really good at being like open-minded but like very passionate about his opinions, and he just shows it supernaturally, like not supernatural, like really naturally too. So I don't know, and I guess that's something he picked up being a stand-up comedian, like being quick, reading the room, like knowing when to say things, knowing when to not. Usually he'll just banter on and forget because he's admitted that he's like, what's it called? He's had to like watch what he says in terms of like saying names and shit like that. Yeah. We're lucky we haven't slipped yet. I'm surprised. 41 episodes of doing this shit. Yeah, we haven't said what's his name? Someone's name. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's just not worth like
the smoke.
It's like yeah. Like not like smoke from him, but it's like just socially in terms of like
just like
family.
I'd like just like reputation and all that shit.
Not that like we care about it, but it just sucks that it would like,
anyone associated with us.
Our immediate family. Exactly. Not that we're tied to the person anymore, right?
Exactly. But no, that's 100% for sure.
Yeah, not that I care.
Like I don't care either.
I just care about who it would affect.
Exactly. Yeah, literally everyone around. Yeah. I was gonna say names. I was gonna say something, but then that would have made it obvious. But anyway.
Yeah, in terms of like people, maybe like I have a couple, like in terms of podcasts, probably like in terms of comedians, probably like Bad Friends podcast, Tiger Belly podcast, Flagrant. That's the one with like Andrew Schultz and Akash. I think I showed you them before.
Is that the one where Akash? Okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think I remember you showed me like an episode where they're like roasting Bobby Lee. Funny, dude.
Yeah, they're all like comedian friends, but it's cool because like those guys, like in terms of like Andrew and Akash, like they do a great job. Like they have like people from like very different walks of life on the podcast to talk.
Okay.
And like whether they agree with their takes or disagree with their takes, Andrew and Akash do a great job of like finding out, like checking them, like making sure like they know where they're coming from, and like understanding the biases that they have in terms of like the stuff that their opinions, while also being able to have fun in the conversation, and while still being able to let the guests see where they're clowning, while also being realistic of like seeing where they themselves can be clowning and their own inexperiences on certain topics, right? They're not claiming to be something that they're not, and they're just speaking from their own personal experiences and things that they've known or they've done research on.
Like basically like keeping it real.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hard sometimes, because sometimes you can kind of like lean into one thing or another, but damn, that's respect,
right? Especially since like having someone on that you would like have conflict with or wouldn't be able to get along with. It's like interesting to think. It's interesting to have that idea of like being willingly having someone on that you butt heads with, and still being able to keep it civil and discuss and break down what each of you are thinking while not taking it personally.
That's hard to find nowadays, dude. Like, I don't know, not to be blunt about it, but it's just like things are just more sensitive now, right? It's hard to be it's hard to have an opinion, kind of. Like, again, it goes both ways, because like some people are like very like hard ass about their opinions, like this is the way or whatever, blah blah blah. But it's just like, I don't know, it's like again, what I mean, it goes both ways. It's just like it can go like people take things too personally, that's outside of their opinion, and then the other way where it's just like people are so dead set in their opinions that it's so hard to hear or realize that there's other people in the world. It's just fucking tough, man.
Yeah, not to mention that it's like not even like a bipartisan issue. It's not like a left or right issue, but it's like everybody from like throughout the entire spectrum of like political leaning or whatever, or like philosophical leaning, right? Like everybody, a lot of people, you'll find people with whatever mindset that they're bringing into the table, the figurative table, like, not this table, but
it can be this table.
You
can bring stuff to this table.
It could be.
Send stuff to
maybe bring some drinks, some food. You know.
Yeah, word. Yeah, send us some stuff. We're almost through our drink stash.
And maybe we'll set up a PO box.
Facts.
But no matter everybody has like a specific bias, a specific thing that they can get emotional about, right?
Absolutely. We're human.
Or even being overly sensitive to, and like that's normal, that's okay, but like being able to like not suppress, but like guide and process those things, those emotions in like a healthy way, and like that takes a lot of work too, especially like I said, with like having people on that you really just butt heads with. And like that's why I think like I respect like Andrew and Akash for that, and like even like as another inspiration for podcasting, like Andrew and Bobby, like they're the complete opposite of that. They're like they bring out the emotions of like arguments, and they just like butt heads, and like they have fun with it, and they usually most of the time know what buttons not to push.
Yeah.
While still being playful enough that
it's entertaining and like, yeah. Okay.
And like even with their guests, like it's crazy for like them to be able to like play up emotionally, and like the way they're able to be so expressive.
Yeah.
While not necessarily making themselves like the focal point of the conversation, but like complementary in order to like leave space for the guest to shine too, or like kind of counterbalance, like if like a guest is like too like overbearing, they match that. Or like if they feel like that they're overbearing in the conversation, they can like tone it down to like highlight the guest that's on with them, right? And like that's like I respect the craft that comes with that.
Oh, that's a fucking, you're walking a tightrope. It's not just like saying things like fucking like I do some of the posts, so
all of the posts.
Okay. So like sometimes I'll realize those things, which things could have went like I could have said things like a little differently to do this or do that, but like these guys are doing it in the moment, in the heat of the moment, like while the camera's recording. It's crazy. So like that's an underrated skill, because like it's easy enough for, well, I was just like, yo, let's get some mics, get a camera, podcast. But to be, and you did a podcast, there you go. But like to be great, like you gotta hone in your craft like that, and that's fucking. There's those smaller details that like define the good from the great, especially because everyone's hopping on like the podcast trend. Yeah, it's just happening left and right. Like literally, we had someone in our close circles like try for a podcast. At least, well, actually, I had more than. I've seen. I've seen 2 people try a podcast. This is my 3rd try at a podcast. I'm not telling you guys. Actually, there's one. The first one was the Spare Talks. I'm not telling you guys what the second one was. And then this is the 3rd one. You know what the second one was, though. Yeah. I got a good buzz going, dude. It's kind of tough. I haven't eaten anything today. Taylor's gonna murder me, yo. Don't look at the time.
What time is it? 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock, haven't eaten anything yet? That's crazy.
Isn't there a song where it's like, na 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 na? I feel like it's an Usher song, where it's like something, 7 o'clock on the dot. Yeah. Okay. I don't know anything about that. I fucking love Usher, yo. Like, this is definitely way off topic, but what were we talking about again?
No, but like, we're just talking about like inspirations in terms of content creating, and like it's cool to see like I could name a bunch of like other podcasts that I've seen who are like are either like topical, like they talk about like history in like a specific sense. They talk about like conspiracy theories or like debunking conspiracy theories, right? Like or even like straight up like interview based podcasts where there's like one-on-one and people, and I respect like the research that goes into like all those forms of podcasts in order to really know what you're talking about and have the facts to back it up. And not only just have like a specific bias of things that you feel, right?
Because again, super easy to just go off the top of your head. But like that don't mean shit, because it's just like some of it's not facts, some of it you're not sure.
It's like, oh, you're not an expert in that field. Like, why are you posing like you think you know what's best? And like I feel like and like that's the danger of it, right? It's like it's so easy for people to be like so personable or like have like certain character traits where you make people like bank on you and with whatever you say, and like that's how like a lot of like misinformation can get spread out, right? Like you find someone that you're like, oh, I think the same way that he thinks. I like what he has to say. So like this, because that's true, then everything else must be true, right? And like that even goes like beyond podcasting, like media or like news outlets, right? Articles, right? So like it's like a slippery slope to think that like, not that like we have that like that kind of like power, but it's interesting to think that like even like our own biases in terms of like what we take in, it's important to like keep that in check and keep your own perspectives open. Like just because like you like hearing specific things being told to you, and like instead of like you're just confirming your biases, and like that's good, like to know your biases and like to have the like factual information to like logically think like, oh, I'm biased to this thing and these are things that support that are factual. but then like to be able to do that, and while at the same time being able to look at different angles of that same perspective, and be like, oh, why do other people think elsewise, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, here's some facts to back that up too, right?
Yeah.
So like I respect like all the hard work that goes into like whatever type of podcast or content that you want to make.
Oh yeah, like it's more like literally the shit you see is like tip of the iceberg, right? Like so much behind just what you see. So
and like I feel like a lot of that has to like, even in terms of like you were saying, like longevity of doing something that you love. It's like how much of that, like I feel like a lot of that has to do with like how much you bank the pressure on yourself, right? And like being able to like find that kind of balance between what you require of yourself versus what you can do versus the expectations that you should be setting for yourself versus the expectations that you can have for yourself, right? Like, do you feel like since we've like started the podcast, do you feel like your metaphorical, figurative table has changed a lot in terms of the load that it's taken or has now?
Like just podcast wise, or
or like even just like on a wider scope, like your personal life. Because obviously that like our lives outside of this podcast have like a huge part to play into like
how it affects
the podcast.
Yeah. Right? Sorry, can you explain the table again?
Like it's like the like you put like oh, I have an obligation to do this. I have an obligation for that. I have these different responsibilities. These different expectations. These like burdens, like whether they're negative, whether they're true or false. Like, do you feel like, how have you felt like, I'm sure it's changed, but like how do you feel like it's changed for the better, even if it's just a little bit?
I feel like it's what's it called, the amount on my table. Oh, fan, that scared me. The amount on my table hasn't changed drastically. I feel like there's just as much, if not more, on my table, but I feel like there's a lot less like clutter, like a lot less, or like I feel like I was seeing things that weren't there, like problems. What's it called? I guess what happened before was like, I was kind of like thinking into things, like stressing about things before, like sometimes even before they even happen, or like worrying about things that are just like, what's it called? Oh my god, like there's, like say there's like 10 problems, and I'm like, so worried about like, oh, there's 10 problems, and I don't realize like, oh, like 4 of these I can have an easy fix, I can do right away. Like it's actually fine. I'm just psyching myself out. So I feel like same amount, but I feel like everything's kind of just organized right now. Still a lot, and still work to do. But I feel like I've just I've set the table. Before it was just like everything on the table has been there. It's just I've actually like put the placemat down first instead of like throwing it and with the plates and the forks and everything type thing. I don't know. That is a weird analogy, but
No, I feel that.
yeah. Definitely some work to do. Definitely some things to figure out. But I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. I feel like I'm less of a mess. Well, not like a mess.
You feel like you have a stronger table now?
I feel like the table's always been strong, but I think I also thought that the table only had 3 legs before, so I also underestimated my table. So that's another thing too. But I think with the help of like outside perspectives, it was just like, oh shit, like this table's actually got 4 legs. I can handle a lot more than I thought. Not to say that I should put more things on it, but I'm not as, or my table is not as compromised as I originally thought it to be. So
I see.
Yeah. How about your table?
Well, I guess like my table has like, I guess you can think of like, I feel like I like kind of, you know, when you bring home groceries and you just put it on the table and you're like, okay, I'll get to it later. It's like, oh, there's other stuff there that like I need to kind of like move aside or like rearrange or kind of like declutter, right? Like you were saying. Like sometimes I feel like I put like a bag of groceries on the table. I'm like, oh shit, okay, this is I have to deal with this. So like I'll take some stuff off of the table that I can take off. Yeah. Like, but I'll like don't ignore a little bit of the other stuff that like I thought I was gonna get to before. Yeah. Before I know it, I'm like, oh shit, I have like another bag of groceries that I have to put on the table that aren't in a bag. So it's a little bit more cluttered. Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, what can I declutter there? There's like some like empty cups there that were already used. There was like some meat in the grocery bag that needs to go in the fridge, right? Yeah. And like sometimes like I put that pressure on myself where I'm like, dang, I feel like I have to have all of this done at once. I feel like a lot of the time I used to tell myself like, oh, I deserve some me time. Yeah. So like I'm just not gonna deal with it. And then like I procrastinate. I'm like, oh, dang, this has to get dealt with at some point. And then I end up like almost reversing that time I took to decompress, and like reversed it by like doubling the amount of stress of trying to deal with everything all at once, right?
Oh, I feel that, dude. I feel that. Literally, like on a day-to-day basis, yo, it's just like, I fucking do that to myself fucking in the morning getting ready for work, yo. I'm like, what's it called? I'll just have 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. I deserve this time. And then I'm like, I'll just hurry up when I get ready for work. Next thing you know, like, had to take a shit, had to do this, car doesn't start. And fucking now all of that time I used to de-stress, now I've made up by stressing even more than I should have just getting ready for work. But again, back to your table. Well, I feel you, man. Like, it's just like, it's tough because you like, you do need time for yourself, but there's also like things that at some point there are things you can't ignore, and like, I don't know, it's like, again, like walking a fine balance, like what should be done, what can wait. It's kind of like prioritizing, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like I also struggle with like the idea that like even for my table I'd like look at it and then I'd look at like other people's tables figuratively and be like, well, like they have like a way better load and like way bigger load and they're doing it way better. Like why should I worry about mine? It's like I would almost like invalidate the attention that my table needs. Then I would constantly compare, like, oh, this person has this much on their table and like they're chilling, but then you neglect to and then you compare yourselves negatively and then it's not until like later on when you realize that like, oh, their table is like way more reinforced, and when you look at it, like there's a lot less clutter and it's like more of an organized clutter than you might think. Yeah. And like not being able to like attack the thought of like invalidating the way that you feel about your table is like has been like a huge thing for me, because like I always defer like, oh, people have it like a lot worse than I do, so like why am I complaining? I should be able to take care of this. But like I feel like that's where like I've been able to like reinforce some raggedy legs or like put in some glue to reinforce joints, like sand down, or like put in a finisher, or like a stain on there.
Okay.
Right, you know, like to like make the table, to me, like even if it's like big or small impact to like what the table can actually do.
Yeah.
Like it looks better, it feels better, and like in some senses,
it's just like what you.
It's just it raises the worth of the table in my own mind, which is what like I would always struggle with when being someone who's like constantly trying to like please unrealistic expectations that I put on myself that are just unfair, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like sometimes like now I'll realize like, oh, here's like one small section of the table that I can get rid of. Like this thing doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
It's empty. It's not serving any purpose. I can put it aside.
Yeah.
Take it off the table. It's not worth taking up weight on the table if it's not like in a selfish way, but like
if it's just not worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's other things that could be there that would provide more value.
Yeah.
So, and again, completely fair. Like it doesn't devalue whatever it is you took off the table. Like just because like now literally this can is like it's not gonna stop being a can once I take it off the table. It's still a can, it's just not on the table. So
and some things like you might think that like, oh dang, this thing on the table sometimes we overcredit things that we feel like are weights but at the end of the day aren't necessarily as impactful as we think that they are. It's like you take a problem relationship, you take an issue you're having financially or like something you're frustrated with within yourself, and you think that it holds such a weight onto your table, but when you take it and you process it, you think you're like, well, this is serving another purpose now. It's going to be useful for me, and you're able to repurpose it into something that is no longer a can, and it doesn't hold as much. You give it too much power over your table, where it didn't really mean that much.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like looks really what's it called? I was gonna say girthy, but that's not a great word to use. But
girthy, let's go with that, yo.
Looks girthy. Looks like there's some heft to it.
Yeah.
Right? From like just like looking at it here, like if you look at this can right now, you can't see the top. You probably think this is heavy, but it's just like again, it could just be fucking full of air, and it's not actually a really big deal. It's actually like a really shallow, empty. I didn't crush the can as cool as you. Fuck, but
I like the crinkles in yours more. Mine's just a fold, yo.
I'm scared this might cut me, but
hey, we're not comparing here, yo.
Yeah,
we're both crushing our problems one can at a time.
Exactly,
you know?
taking like making the problem what it really is. Like you think it's like has some heft, some girth to it, but it's actually just full of shit, but full of air.
Yeah,
which you squeezed out.
Yeah, and you process it in a healthy way, or like even if you think, like you were saying, like you didn't think you processed this can as well as someone else did, but nonetheless we process it and we improve from there, right? You know,
you threw that on my head. Oh damn.
Yeah, but like sometimes like not to invalidate different issues that come up in our lives, and like it's important to like even like get help, right? And like I feel like I've what's the word? Lessened or alleviated the weight or the amount of clutter on my table by just asking for opinions from people that I trust, being like, hey, I'm having this little problem in my life, like what do you think about it? And like even just by like, even if they're not like helping in like an immediate way, like just bringing in their input onto the issue, or like just being a listening ear, no matter how big or small, like makes it all the difference for me when I finally am able to put in the time to tackle that one can, right?
No, 100%. Yeah, that could literally be all the difference. Just someone hearing you out again, like being heard.
Yeah.
Damn, that's the one, yo.
It's so close to being loved that is almost undistinguishable.
Yeah, from each other.
Right?
Yeah. Damn. I'm gonna cry again. Damn. Fuck. Where's Harold?
Where's Harold, yo?
Oh man. Shit. We're actually almost at the hour mark, but
oh, nice.
Let's see here. In terms of like in regards to our table, your table, my table, their table, if anyone has, like, say people are dealing with their tables, whatever the issue is, do you have, besides everything we just said, do you have anything else you'd want to share? Any advice? Just want to let them know they're heard, whatever.
Oh, not now that we're talking about tables, like one important thing that like I kind of had an idea around, but then didn't really, but I was more validated on this idea during the pandemic, when I was just watching more like videos, like whether it's like psychological videos or like just
Psych to go. Fucking dope.
Psych to go. Goat.
Goat.
Also I forgot her name, but then the voiceover, the narrator for those videos, bro, her voice is so buttery, yo. Like,
I know,
it's so soothing while not being too intrusive, while still being able to be expressive enough to not have the video be something that you just fall asleep to and not listen to at all, right?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's a crazy balance.
Yeah.
It's just right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what Psych to go,
check it out. It's so good.
Check out their shit. It's good.
Fucking dope.
Yeah, they talk about like all sorts of stuff, whether it's like romantic relationships or like just like friendships, like, or even like psychological disorders, or just being able to navigate yourself, your personality, other people's personality, and like dealing with harder situations that like a lot of us should have learned growing up, but they don't really teach that in school
anywhere.
Yeah.
It's cool too, because it's just like they're super, it's not hard to understand, like even like the animation's super simple, nothing too complex. No. It's like
super cute and
super cute to the point. Yeah, it's just like no fluff, straight to the, like, no bullshit type shit. Yeah, psyched to go, man.
Yeah, but yeah, anyways, in terms of like table, I can't remember if the idea was from Psych to Go or not. I'm pretty sure it was, but they were talking about like arguments and how it's so important. Like, we feel like, or at least I feel like sometimes when you have an argument with someone or a disagreement, like for me being like conflict avoidant, like I'll just be like, okay, I think I can see where you're coming from. I see where I might have been wrong or where the person might have been wrong. So like, we're both getting emotional. I'll just step back. Yeah. Try and defuse and like just leave it, right? And then maybe never get back to it ever again, or like have like a silent apology. And like I feel like that's like a cultural thing too, in terms of like us growing up. Maybe I don't know if it was the same for you, but like sometimes having arguments between relatives or between you and relatives, like sometimes there's never really an apology or an acknowledgement of what was said or
this kind
of what was wrong, like, right? It's like sometimes you just never talk about it. Sometimes you just like, even as something as small as like, hey, let's like watch something together. Or like even some relatives like, hey, I'm gonna, like, not saying anything, but like, I made food for you, right? And like sometimes that's enough, sometimes it's not enough, and like that leaves scars. But like the one thing I learned in terms of like the table is like, in an argument, when you feel like things are heating up, and either you or both parties aren't able to you feel like this will do more harm than good by taking this further, it's important and healthy and okay to just say, hey, I know this is an issue, can we just table this disagreement, this conflict for now, and get back to it at another time. And then like they were giving an example of like maybe another time, like further down the line in the future, or the day or the same day, like being like, hey, about that argument that we've had, I feel like we both had time to like relax and process it. Do you want to talk it out and like process it together now that we're in a better headspace?
Exactly.
Like I feel like that's something that like so many people like overlook, something so simple as
like
that,
a simple
right?
like literally, like at its core, it's literally just communicating. Yeah, because like it's really easy to just be like, oh, we got to deal with this now, right now, in the heat of the moment, fire's burning hot, right now.
And then like far too often it just ends up being way too hurtful, way too personal.
100%.
And you're not really tackling the problem.
No,
it's
you're
like
you're
a
just
pride
like,
thing,
yeah,
an ego
it's just
thing.
like,
You're just attacking each other now.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, who's gonna come out on top?
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, how do we get through this, right? Because like coming out on top is very different from getting through the problem. You can still come out on top.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the other person's gonna make it out of it, or if you've even overcome the problem.
Yeah.
If so,
yeah,
you're gonna
like
still
at
be.
what cost?
Yeah, at what cost? If anything, you're still sitting on the problem. So, yeah, fuck. I'm bad for that. I get very emotional. Scorpio gang, but shouts to Taylor dealing with my ass. But yeah, no, literally just communicating, knowing that's an option, or even fucking just going through your options. Like we can put the can here, here, or here. What's gonna work best, right? It doesn't have to just be right there.
Yeah.
Like we can move the can over for a second, then we can put it back and deal with it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just because like the can is just because like in the heat of the argument you knocked the can over, you made a mess.
Yeah.
Outside of the table, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dang, like just because we thought we got it off the table, like
Doesn't
that's
really
another
mean
whole
it's-
nother issue that you have to deal with now, right?
Yeah. So we're getting really good at this table analogy. This is a fucking amazing investment. Anyway. But yeah, no, that's definitely something that's overlooked. Something I know I have to work on.
Me too.
Fuck, but
yeah, especially like for me being like kind of a lot conflict avoidant or like people pleasing. Like I'm far too willing to either
just take the hit.
like it's either like either or. Like I'm either like super headstrong of like, oh, I'm not taking the blame, but then far too often I'm like I'm willing to hear this person out even though they've hurt me and forgive let it lie.
Let it be. Yeah. Right?
Libra gang.
Damn.
But yeah, you know.
Not the horoscopes coming out to bite us in the ass, yeah. No, I feel that, man.
But yeah, it's okay to table conflicts, you know.
Yeah, man. It's all the whole point is to like sort it out to make it make sense.
Yeah.
It's not to who's gonna win this fight.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to win a fight, go fucking box or something or whatever. Then that's the point, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like
personal conflict is not the way to decompress, bro.
No, absolutely not. Like that's just the way to fucking, if anything, cause more stress.
Yeah.
So
far more than what I say it would be worth, right?
Oh, 100%. That shit runs deep, yo.
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn, that was solid advice, dude.
Not me, it's just what I've learned, yo.
Okay. Huh, man.
Damn. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. Another episode on the table.
On the table. We should just rename it episode 42 on the table.
On the table.
We'll just have like different things on the table. We'll just be talking about how it's relates to the table, and then there you go. Life lessons.
Life lessons.
The table of life. Holy shit.
Views from the tabletop.
Views from the tabletop, you said. Oh my god. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting though.
That was.
I mean, do you have anything to say?
I think when I was going through the most shit with my table, I think I had like a mentor. They told me it was like they walked me through a lot of it actually, which was like bless on them. They didn't owe me shit, but they still like took the time, talked with me, um, helped me make things work, yet still helping me realize like where I could navigate, what was in my control actually, what was what. But I think they gave me a lot of advice, but I think one thing that stuck to me was that they told me sometimes the greatest adversity is also the greatest opportunity. So it's just like kind of going back to your grocery thing. Put your groceries on the table. It's just like, oh, there's this fucking big piece of meat. It's on the table. I have to deal with it now. Fuck. Like, I don't know where to put it. I don't know what to do with it. But that piece of meat could also be like a fucking like 12-ounce ribeye, and sure, it's bleeding everywhere. It's fucking cold, wet, gross on your table, making a mess out of the table and whatever's around it. But you could also, given the right circumstances, given the right actions, turn into one fucking hell of a meal, yo. So yeah, sure. Like, shit's gonna hit the fan. It is, but then it's like also like sometimes that could also be like your like kind of like an opportunity to something great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they told me that because like I was like in a very bleak mindset, like super negative, like putting myself down. What's it called? I don't know. I was just like looking at things like worst possible outcome, like the world was gonna end type shit. But it's just like, look, you got this sucks, but it's also like this will also like this could also bring something really great out of you. So it's just like, okay, that makes sense. Like, what though? I don't think I'm there yet, but it definitely helped me change the way I look at things. It didn't solve all of my problems, if any, but I think that was one way I kind of managed, like, or like kind of like realistically viewed the problems. I mean, so I think that's what I would share. So yeah, if you ever feel like you're in shit, sometimes that could also be. I was gonna say like one man's trash is another man's treasure, but that's not really related. But anyways, yeah, sometimes the greatest. What did I say again?
Sometimes the greatest
adversity
can be the greatest opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes that slab of meat, it just needs to be. You maybe just gotta pat that dry, salt it, let it come to room temperature, and then sear it, and then it becomes something beautiful, yo.
Fucking beautiful, fatty, and juicy.
Yeah.
And medium rare.
Oh my god.
Oh
I
god.
Steak it, but that's kind of expensive.
That's kind of expensive right now. Yeah, I don't get paid for a while, yeah. But, oh, god damn. Yeah, I fucking love that saying. I've never heard it before too. Like not in that straightforward of a way. Like I think, like looking like retrospectively looking, like there's like other motivational things or other scenarios where that saying shines, but it's never been said bluntly to me like that. So, like I guess there's also like your greatest weakness can also be your greatest strength, but that's very broad, right? But yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to give examples of that saying right now. Maybe down the line though. We're gonna table that for another episode. Oh, damn. But yeah, I don't know if you. I guess is that a wrap? Anything else?
Yeah, why not, yo?
I think I'm kind of buzzed.
That's okay, yo.
Yeah, fuck, I should eat something. Oh, damn. Well, cheers to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. There's a little bit in here. Cheers to our table. Cheers to the new camera.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers to recording again after literally like 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, shit.
And cheers to you guys.
Cheers to you guys. Till the next one. I don't know what I'm playing with right now. This is Team Rocket. Blasting off.
Until the next one.
Till the next one.
Peace. Peace.
The camera still didn't connect, yo.